All right, I suppose I'm live. All right, I suppose I'm live. Great. We can hear things, we can see things. I will be. Today, we're going to be looking at a software that I'm very excited I found. I found out about kind of randomly, but yeah, this is certainly a interesting bit of information that I didn't have before. And well, essentially what we're doing today is we're looking at VCV Rack Free 2.6.6. It's a free software that essentially stumbled upon it because I wanted to get to the point of being able to. Okay, I can hear myself better now. That was messing with my head. I had I just spent some money on some gear, and I didn't want to spend any more money. But I heard a friend of mine's project, and he was using granular synthesis, and I was like, I want to know, I want to hear these sounds, I want to be able to use that. How do I get some sort of granular thing going on? And then I realized, there might be some freeware out there for me, right? So just like let's see what's on there. And I found I went down this rabbit hole. I've been going down the rabbit hole for a couple of days, just kind of following my curiosity on something that I think is really cool. So I'm going to share it with you. I think a lot of you probably who might stumble upon this channel might be curious about Eurorack and about modular synthesizers. I have my thoughts on, I've been playing synthesizers for years now, and I think I have a lot of experience with different ways of making synthesized sounds. And I think that there's a bit of a learning curve, and it's not the most friendly musical instrument to approach, right? It kind of requires a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of experience with different things, but there's no like centralized place to learn it unless you go to university to study it, which is what I did. I mean, I studied classical guitar, but I also, learned a couple tricks along the way. I took a couple of computers and music classes. That sort of opened my world into this, my mind into this sort of world. So I've been practicing and playing electronic music ever since, and I've really enjoyed it. I was in a band, so there's a lot of kind of like previous knowledge that's assumed. But when I got into modular synthesizers, that was just kind of like the ultimate. Oh my God, I gotta learn everything about this, and I love it, and it's an investment. But I was fortunate or unfortunate enough, not sure, to be in a job that required. I had an accountant that would help me with my taxes, but because of my tax situation, every month she'd be like, "You need to buy stuff because you're not spending, and if you don't want to pay that much in taxes, you should be buying stuff." So I was like, okay, I have a tax incentive, right, to buy things. Maybe I'll pay a little bit less taxes because I'm investing in my company, right? I wanted to be a composer back then, so I was like, this is investing in myself and in my skills. So I ended up buying a bunch of gear, and I understand not everybody's going to have that circumstance. Not everybody's going to be able to invest in such a weird hobby that at the end of the day is limited in ways that I didn't realize it was limited. And I found this which bypasses that limitation in some way. So I'm just going to I'm going to stop preambling. I'm going to let you know what this is all about. So This is a virtual environment, right? Where you get this kind of infinity space, right? This sort of, I mean, it's not infinite, but it's pretty damn big. Like, when are you gonna fill this? Look at all these. Look at all these rows. That's like what, 20 rows of Eurorack? Like, if you were to build this in an actual room, it would be as big as the room, right? Like, this is just, it would wrap around a couple of walls and then some. Like, you wouldn't, like, this is insane. And so, yeah, this is the best. This is the coolest. I'd seen, I think, a lot of videos on YouTube of people doing stuff with this, where they just fill it in with this huge rack, and it's this ambient modular thing that just keeps going. But you know, I figured in order to demo it, this is not necessarily something I'm going to use in the album, but I'm just kind of like exploring the kind of things we can do, just to maybe, you know, get started. I'm going to go ahead and turn up the volume here. Oh, weird. You guys can't see me zoom in or out, can you? Oh, that's too bad. I was trying to show you things. Oh, strange. Why doesn't the screen follow? Well, that's weird. And lame. I was trying to show you my screen. It seems to be frozen. Let me just remove this. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to try and add another screen capture, because otherwise this is no fun. Let's see if that's working. Okay, so you guys can see this. I don't know why the other one wasn't updating. So anyways, I was trying to show you how much space there is on this rack. Look at that. Look at all that space. That's crazy, right? Crazy. Yeah, just look at all that. And essentially, all the plugins I'm using right now are free. There are some paid ones, but honestly, there's like 4,000 free ones. You're never gonna, you could spend your whole life playing with this stuff, and it would not cost you a cent, right? Which I think is awesome. Let me just turn it up again real quick. Okay, and let's get it so you can see me. There we go. You can see me now. So this is really the best. I mean, look at this. All of these free little modules, some of whom are clones, they're digital clones of physical things that exist out in the world. Right? You can kind of see, if you're into Eurorack, you'll notice some familiar designs here, right? You're like, okay, I've seen these look just like the you know, the modules for I think this one's based on, it's not Teenage Engineering, it's the other one, Mutable Instruments, right? All of those Mutable Instruments ones. This, I believe, yeah, you're basically looking at a bunch of different ones that I've got going on, and this is a granular synthesizer, or a granular delay here that I'm, you know, you can kind of you can see that I'm using it as an effect here. But what I thought was cool was I was just trying to see if I could let me just zoom in on the right portion of it so you can see what it's doing ish. All right, that should be good. You should be able to see. So I created this instrument thinking of a PlayStation controller. I was like, why not just make an instrument that uses this as its MIDI data source? Because I was like, why not? You know, this is fun. So press a button. Another button. And this here controls the you can see that little, every time I move this knob here, it'll use my mouse to point to things. This guy, right? It just sort of turns a certain color. So, you get the idea. I'm just sort of having all the fun with this. And yeah, I'm gonna walk you through maybe a couple of other patches. These won't be using the controller, but you get the idea. It's just a goofy thing. Let's see. It's the kind of thing I'm going to use for this new musical project. All right. All right, this one I just have it programmed to play to. Again, is it frozen? That's so lame. I don't know why it does that. Huh. Maybe I'll have to do that every now and then. Screen capture, add new screen capture. This is, excuse the learning curve here, but you know, there's only one way to learn how to do this. Is to just stream a lot and then, yes, remove it. Let's add screen capture. Okay. Window capture. Okay. Cool. So here we go. We have this little grainer delay on something, and essentially I have it mapped so that it's the letters here, the QWERTY keyboard, will trigger something, and that's it. That's all it does. So you can tweak the sound, you know, with the different. You can mess around. And I created all of these. Okay, for anybody who's not familiar with what this is, think of it this way. All right, so like a musical instrument, right? Let me just grab an instrument. You know, you might be thinking, is each one of these little boxes, right? Each one of these modules a different instrument? Sometimes, but for the most part, I would say the whole patch is an instrument. If you got this charango here, right? This is a musical instrument, but it's made out of many parts. It's got a little nut, it's got strings, it's got a body, it's got the little pegs, right? None of these objects by themselves can make music. I mean, they can if you just use them as percussion instruments, if you're banging against things, but it isn't until they all kind of come together so that they can, make music. And that's kind of the beauty of this. Like you're kind of the performer, but you're also the luthier. You're the person who's designing the whole instrument, and you're basically picking all of the different parts that go into designing a sound without having to learn how to code or to do anything fancy, right? I like this little scope module, right? It's just there to like show you the waveform, right, that you're making. You basically just kind of have to learn how everything works, all the different types of modules that are out there. These are based on analog modules that are available in the real world. So that's why they kind of look like a Eurorack system. It's also kind of nice that you don't even have to worry about cables. You just kind of like patch things into each other. And what's dope about that is that you can hit the command key and stack them, right? You can just keep bringing more and more. It would be like having a spaghetti of cables. But thankfully, you never run out. Oh, is it? Can you guys not even hear it anymore? You can't hear it because it's coming out of the tiny speakers. Oh, that's awkward. Let's try and... Oh, yeah, because I switched to a different... This should sound better now. There we go. You guys can hear it now. That was sounding like the pathetic thing for my speakers. By the way, every time, for anybody interested in using this, the audio module... Here, let me just do a new one. New instrument. Basic patch. Okay, so I'll usually have this here, and I'll hit the MacBook Scarletti so that I have to switch the audio every time I open a patch, which makes sense. But for this patch here, every patch I use, I put a little EQ here to like pull down the highs a little bit. You can even do this more when you're like when you're just... I noticed that after doing this for a while, I started to get like a ringing in my ears, and I wasn't even doing anything fancy. I was just sort of playing with my laptop in my, in my bed, right? Thinking to myself like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be lazy and make stuff with the trackpad or whatever, and I'm not plugged into the stereo system, so my ears are okay. I'll be safe, right? And no, actually, it after like an hour or two or maybe three of playing around with it, I started to get this ring in my ear. I'm like, that's because you're hearing a lot of high frequencies that are being, accented by the fact that it's a tiny laptop and you're not getting any of that bass and you're just getting this tiny thing, and it's just like piercing your ears, and you can't even tell because I'm almost 40, so I'm already losing my hearing probably. And yeah, it's kind of one of those things you got to be careful. So I definitely want to have this in every patch, and then maybe I'll roll it down. I'll make it more normal when it comes time to like record or something, or actually do something. But just try to get those high frequencies to not be so present. Let's see, what else have I worked? I've done some fun little drums here. I mean, what else do you want? Oh, this is a little drum sequencer that's going on here. It's triggering these drums. I've got some LFOs tweaking out on stuff. Oh, that's what's going on here. You know, these are just inspiring things that you can kind of continue to build, right? Just have them. That way you can kind of play around with them. I'm running these drums through this awesome mutable instruments thing here. What's this called? Meta modulator. It's based on a physical one, and it's the emulation is kind of, it's kind of uncanny. The I have like if you hit the right click button, you can kind of search your stuff. Look at all these free modules that I've downloaded, and I'm just barely scratching the surface of everything that's out there. But this guy here is based on Platts, which I have a physical copy of, right? In my rack, in my Eurorack, and it sounds really good. This thing sounds really close to the real thing, right? I mean, it is a digital module, so it's like digital emulating digital, but still, it's like basically indistinguishable for the most part. It's indistinguishable. I can hear a difference between the analog and the digital. I've heard that, you know, people say it's not, there is no difference anymore. If anything, digital is better because it's just more analog. That you get more loss of signal from like the cables and the, you know, the analog stuff. You lose quality, whereas the digital has got to the point where it's like surpassed analog, which is crazy. And awesome, you know, what an awesome time to be alive. At the same time, I'm also kind of like, there's just something about the analog which I really like, and I like the warmth of it. I know that's I'm going into the woo-woo area of audio that everybody hates. You know, a lot of people think that's just like the power of suggestion, and that really there is no difference. But I do notice that my ears generally get tired. And I think that was something I fixed when I got this mixer here, so I could turn down that little that high frequency on the modular synthesizers. I was starting to get that even when I edited my own videos. I was getting that like, damn, this is I think it's a little bit too much high frequency. So I rolled those down. So I recommend that you do that for your own sanity. And to protect your hearing long term, right? So I think that's everything I have in terms of the patches that I've made. But let's go back to making a basic one. Let's call it a new instrument. Oh, never mind. Basic patch, that's the one I'm doing. So let's select Scarletti here. Okay, you guys, every time I open up a new instrument, it freezes. That's crazy, boy. Ah, that's why. Yeah, I guess it's like every time, because it's opening a new window every time I open a new project. So Mac OS screen capture. Let's just do application capture. See if that works better. All right, so yeah, this will be fun. I have a bit of it's a very basic thing planned, and I have a MIDI keyboard, right? Because I had a viewer of the channel, a friend of the channel, ask me a question. He was trying to get into this VCV thing. I have this is what I'll be using for this next portion, right? It's just a regular old keyboard with some drum pads, and it's got some modulation wheels. So that's what I'll be using. It's all plugged in. All I gotta do is essentially his question for me, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to make this just for you. There's other people that might be curious about how to use this stuff. This would answer anybody who's curious how I did the gamer thing. This is how I did it, right? What you're essentially doing is you're taking, let's say, let's build an instrument from scratch. Okay. Now it's not from scratch. Like I've said, these are all modules that have been pre-designed and programmed by programmers. But it's different than like getting a VST synth or getting any other form of like a digital instrument that you can load into your DAW. You can load this into your DAW, by the way, and if you do want to do that, you have to pay. Only the paid version can get you that. But essentially, what you do is that this is a nice in-between sort of software where you don't have to code, you don't have to design every module and know how everything works. If you know how to use the analog versions of this, you will figure it out, how to use this, right? And you can download these modules online, and most of them have like a pretty easy to read, easy to access little manual that tells you how everything works. You download them on this page here. You can't see that because it's on my browser. But whatever, you just go to VCV library. It's called VCV rack. VCV because I think that means voltage control. Virtual control voltage. That's probably what that means. So vcvrack.com. And then you go to your library. First, you have to download the program. You install it. Then you go to the library. You search. There's 4,000 free modules. Holy damn! This is insane. And you get all sorts of. I'm already adding new ones. There's so much of this. It's what I was telling my buddy is that this is an embarrassment of riches, right? And I've talked about SDAW on my other on my Twitch channel before, how SDAW is such a fun interface, partially because it's like simple and it's developed by one guy who just developed the program, and he's made all of the modules for it, and he created something that's tiny and easy to just sort of get your hands on. This is like it's a universe, right? This is just insane. So be mindful of that, right? If you're just trying to dip your toes into something, maybe start with something like SDAW. Start with something a little bit more normal. But if you're into this idea of designing your own instrument, your imagination is like your only limit. This could be anything. What I'm about to do, I already have an idea of what I want to do, but if I wanted to, I could just focus on getting modules that are effects, so that I could run like my guitar through an effects pedal. Like I could just make the biggest pedal board imaginable with like a bunch of different. And these aren't based on like guitar pedals, but they do a lot of the same things, right? These modules, like if I were to go get a delay, right? There's delays. You just search here. Let's get a delay. and you would just, there's a tape machine, right? This could be like your little, you could have like a sample player and then load it into this machine, and then you can have kind of like you would do on your DAW. You would just have a rack of different effects, and you would process your signal that way. And you can do stuff that maybe in real life is difficult because you don't have multiple speakers and you don't have that many stereo options. Here you could do parallel delays, all the stuff that you've heard of that are, that's difficult to do in the real world, to have a stereo rig, right? To have all these dope things that they're at your fingertips, right? And they're just sort of for free. So I'm really into that. You can create, like I said, this controller thing. I'm gonna keep exploring this idea. I mean, I'm gonna probably map it so that every button is doing something, and that's, I spent some time playing video games before. I kind of have muscle memory with these buttons, so it's like, why not just take something that I do for fun that's like a waste of time? I already have the muscle memory for it. Let's try to program it so that I can make music with it. Like, I think that's really fun. So yeah, you can create an instrument that you can perform live with. You can also just kind of create environments, things that just sort of like by themselves do noises that you can just kind of put in the background while you're doing something else and just kind of let it run, right? And what's cool about it is that you have really long LFOs and things like that you can kind of control, add randomness, add all sorts of things to the instrument that you've designed, and you could just create something that never repeats itself. You can create a machine that just makes noise that never repeats, right? So this probably would be good for like museum installations if you ever wanted to do that. Like, the sky's the limit, right? Your imagination is the limit. So let's make a very simple, let's see, oscillator, right? And my buddy's, his question, I'm going to use actually, no. Let's use this guy, and I'm going to take the output of this and I'm going to put it into here just so we can hear it. Okay. So that by itself is just an oscillator. This is the basic unit of, of music, basically, right? Well, you can find a nice one. These are all the different models that it has. Look at all these. Look at all these different ones. Do we like this one? That's a nice little square thing. Yeah, it's good to find good sounds because you're going to be listening to them for a while. So. Alright, this sounds like a pulse wave. That could work. I just think it's interesting because I found a sound that I really liked the other day. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty badass. Great. So we don't want to be listening to that forever. So unplug it. Let's put it through a filter. Okay. So output will go into this filter's input, and then the low pass filter and high pass filter are my choices. So I'm actually going to take the low pass filter, put it into the left, high pass filter, put it into the right. See what happens. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. So that kind of creates a bit of a, almost like a panning effect because of where the frequencies are, right? That's fun. I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to add a VCA, voltage controlled amplifier. So that way it goes into here. I'm going to duplicate it. Right? But I'm going to bring it down. And I'm going to use a envelope to trigger it. ADSR EG. That's a attack, decay, sustain, release envelope generator. That's what happens when you've been studying this for too much. You learn all these little, it's like working for a corporation that doesn't pay you, and you have to learn all these 3-letter, 4-letter things. So yeah, this envelope is going to control the control voltage, and I'm going to patch it that way so that every time I hit this push button, right? Now let's bring our level back up. See, now we can get some nice and quiet, but all right, turn the attack down so that it's nice and plucky. And let's see what that sounds like. There we go. Now I'm going to duplicate this and have this be slightly different shape, but it'll be it'll control the frequency. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Okay. That's what's going on. It needs to be triggered by something. So this is where we're going to import data from our MIDI map. MIDI gate. Let's do MIDI gate. I'm going to add a device. The gamepad is what I added for the controller, but I'm just going to grab a core MIDI. All channels. No device, huh? Akai max port A. Max 25. Yeah, let's do that. Port A. Okay, D sharp 3. This little drum pad. Okay. This is going to trigger both of these. Notice that, huh? How about that? Notice how I'm like getting a lot out of just a gate, just a note on, note off. So I'm kind of designing by setting my knobs and my faders to the right place, kind of making a lot of decisions about how this is going to look, how it's going to sound, right? But let's say that instead of the MIDI gate, let's add some MIDI CV, right? This is where it gets real fun. Let's add a. Oh no, you're kidding me. Oh wait, that's because I haven't. Okay. Does the pitch wheel work? They don't work. Ah, that's. Oh, it worked. It worked. Okay. So then this maybe controls the cutoff. Or maybe the resonance. How about that? So now. Oh yeah, I gotta give it some. You hear that difference? I'm making the resonance be bigger, right? That now you'll hear the difference. I need both my hands to do this. So on one hand, I'm playing the note, and on the other hand, I'm turning the knob. You can't really see it. Actually, you can. If you notice here. Oh, you haven't been seeing anything I've been doing. Ah, that's annoying, dude. Oh my God, you haven't been seeing anything. That's okay. Let me just try this again. This screen thing is... I thought that was going to fix it. Yes, remove. Do I have to add it every time? I'm going to have to go on the forums. Try to figure out what's going on. Display. No, not display. Window capture. Is this the one I haven't tried yet? Okay, let's hope it, well, this will be the last time switching patches for tonight, I'll tell you that. So, oh my God, I can't believe I've been talking this whole time and you guys can't even see what I see. Next time I'll have a secondary monitor so I don't have to be switching between things. And let's check the chat, see if there's anybody in the chat. Nobody in chat, so hopefully this won't be too embarrassing for the people watching at home later. Okay, so for those of you who couldn't see a damn thing, I was adding MIDI on that, and it was also like the tutorial part of the thing. Anyways, the two modules on the left are MIDI CC CV and MIDI gate, right? So the gate, you can see it turned green there every time I hit the drum pad because I mapped it that way, right? I clicked on these guys here, right? I clicked on this little gate here, sorry, this thing here, and I hit the drum pad, right? Whatever drum pad I hit that's gonna be mapped to that, and then I map this to whatever trigger this is, right? So this trigger here is mapped to both ADSRs. These ADSRs are mapped to the VCAs. And one of them's to the VCAs, and then the other one's mapped to the cutoff of the filter, which the filter has two outputs. So I'm using that so that the low pass filter is coming in on the left, the high pass filter is coming in on the right, and then when you move this knob here, kind of gives you a panning effect. It's a weird way to use a VCF. I've never done that before, but it sounds dope. And by the way, you're not going to see this move, but it is moving, right? What you will see is this little green thing. I'm going to play it now. You'll be able to hear it. Right, it's changing the resonance. You can't see the knob moving because this knob represents where it is initially without the modifications. And then, so if I were to turn it up, it's going to be a lot more marked. Actually, no, it's about the same. But let's do the cutoff. Now this is super marked, right? Ooh, that's going to hurt your ears. Good thing we have this little high cut off here. Otherwise, it would really hurt your ears. So you turn it down. Now let's turn that resonance down. It's way too much. These knobs on the bottom change how much your modulation affects the knobs on the top. So that's nice. It kind of has a little bit of that, you know. Oh my God. Oh, I was like, is this a, and I was like, is this the filter? But it's no, it's just a squeaky, the squeaky modulation thing is making it its own noise. And I'm like, well, where is that coming from? It's coming from the hardware. So anyways, you get the idea. Essentially, you can create any sort of instrument based on these things. If you know how to patch them together, if you know how to, you know, how the signal flows, you basically have everything you could ever want. It's kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, look at all these guys. You got your drum sequencers, your groove boxes. I was trying to do groove box stuff because I don't want to spend on a groove box either. But it's, you know, it's limited in what it can do. I still have to kind of like master it. There's a bunch of different things. I've been streaming for a while now, so I'm going to stop. How long have I been going? It doesn't say. Well, it does not say. Interesting. Yeah, I've been at it for like 45 minutes. So yeah, that's fine. This was going to be a short one. You know, I will have more of these later. I might revisit this topic, but it's really something else. It's really fun. Let me think. Were there anything else that my buddy had asked about? I don't know. I don't think so. Basically, it's this idea of, okay, you're gonna patch things in, you're gonna make things. Oh yeah, he had asked about like expressiveness with like how to put this into your DAW. So I don't have the paid version, so I can't do that now. But essentially, what I did now with MIDI CC, right, and the velocity of something. Let's see. There's another one called MIDI map. This is the one I was using earlier, but basically anything that you can map from your hardware to your software can control any of these knobs, right? Of any of the things that you decide to bring in. And so essentially what that does is that you can control everything, and then once you put it into the DAW, like let's say, I mean, look at this guy, right? This is ridiculous, but it's kind of fun. Let's run it into out. Where's my input here? In no, that's not good. In left, in right, then you get this one's ridiculous. Where's my out left, out right? So I mean, how fun is this? You can freeze it. You can change how much the buffer is doing. You can change like the needle. This is ridiculous, bro. You can change the speed that it's playing. And of course, right, if it's a turntable, dude. Oh my god. You can feed it back, and then I mean, again, this is all just modular synthesizer stuff. So you have a DJ turntable that's got a modular, like how crazy is that, right? It's got modular controls. You can patch stuff into it and control it. Like you could be the wackiest, doodliest DJ on the planet with your own groove boxes and samples, and yeah, it's got sampler capabilities, so you can sample things and play it. It's not easy. I haven't had that much success with the sampling bits, but it works. And I guess, oh yeah, my buddy's question. Sorry, just to answer. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. But yeah, basically, my buddy had a question about, are you freaking kidding me? It's not. You guys can't see what I'm seeing. Well, all that DJ shit, imagine that it was amazing. This screen capture thing is a bit of a pain in the ass. I have to keep like micromanaging this to make sure you guys can see what I'm seeing. And it sucks because I can see it, so then I'm like, oh, I'm good. But I'm not good. I'm sorry about that. That was very that's very annoying. There it is. See that little DJ thing? There it is. See it? Now you guys can see what I was doing. Now it's actually not making the noise. How weird is that? Oh, because of the buffer, maybe? Okay, so you get the idea. This is it's really fun. I don't know how much I'm gonna use this in this next musical project, but I'm definitely gonna explore this in depth because there's much potential for creative, fun ideas here, and I've barely even scratched the tip of the iceberg, and I am like, look at this glitch sequencer. Right? I don't know what this does, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun. Let's get rid of this tape deck. Let's do one more fun thing, and then we'll call it a night. And I will answer my friend's question if it kills me. Basically, what he said was, ooh, oh, so these are just outputs. It doesn't have inputs, or it does have an input. Or not. No, these are just the steps. So maybe I have to grab it from somewhere else. Ooh. Let's grab this guy here. This gate is going to trigger something. Okay, so see, I'm moving things. Ooh. Okay, I see what this is. This is not audio. This is a trigger. So essentially what this does, it creates this kind of grid. I don't know. This could be an interesting one to explore. Oh, ooh, you can kind of paint things in. Okay, this is very weird. I'm going to have to read the manual before I know what this one is doing. Okay, thankfully you guys can see what I was doing this time. My goodness, this is but see, I'm hitting a pad and things are happening. And that to me is interesting and fun because you're exploring a whole world of things. And my friend's question was, can you paint in the notes and create, you know, like if you have a DAW, right, with your notes and your modulations, it's like, yeah, if you record it with if I were to record this onto a track with this instrument loaded up in a VST program, I could do a performance of a little piece, and then I can go in with the MIDI notes and all the continuous controller, the CC numbers, and go back in and like paint it in and essentially go back and forth between listening to it and changing how the instrument reacts to your expressiveness. So yeah, you can have control over every little aspect of it, right? And your imagination is the I'll close with this. There were some cool visualization ones that had things here. I'm like, okay, this is something cool. Like this is something that's like for a video person would find this. Look at this psycho visualizer. Yeah. Oh, afterglow and rotation. What's this? Oh, that's fun. Color input. Okay. Not sure how that works. Channel 1 input. Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? Let's just do. So you could, I mean, this is a little weird, I will say this, but. Okay, I don't know how this works, so let's grab something that I do know how it works. Yeah, so then we can do what I was just doing, but with this, and you can go crazy, right? Look at all these. Can you see it this time? You can't see it. It just freezes every now and then. Jesus. Jesus. This is very 90s. Trying to get this to work, man. You're killing me. You're killing me. I can't work like this. I promise you I will go on the forums to try and figure out what's going on. But yeah, look at that, right? Ain't she a beaut? It's all being controlled by different things. Oh, they just went black for some reason. There was a really dope one that had like a circle. Whatever. It's really fun. I highly recommend y'all get. Oh, there it is. There it was. This slurp oscillator. Man, this is such a crazy thing. Look at that. right, and it rotates on its own, out of its own volition. But then you can affect it with the sound, and yeah, you can become a DJ, a VJ, all sorts of things. I don't even know what's going on here with this guy, with all these states. Speed, size. Man, look at these guys. You can control how many neighbors it has, and yeah, you're basically doing modular video. Like, oh, I'm adding blocks. I don't know what that means. I don't know what anything means, but I like it. Anyways, this was a circle thing that you guys can't see because today's just not my day when it comes to trying to explain things and share things. Okay. Yeah. Be inspired, people. Find things that inspire you, that make you tweak out, like I am just tweaking out on this thing. So yeah, just barely getting started with it, but excited to do more of it. And thank you for joining Patch of the Day to anybody who may have joined. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Oh, I'm going to show my face. I'm going to show my face now because, yeah. Signing off. You guys are patient. You guys are good people. I will chat with you on the next one. And apologies to my viewer if I did not answer your question satisfactorily. It's late and I've just kind of been all over the place today. So cheers, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Bye-bye. Peace.